Hello friends, wanted to talk today about my journey as a 61-year-old who is now once again learning to play guitar. My journey, I suppose, probably isn't much different maybe than yours. I know there's got to be a ton of people who, like me, started off as a teenager and never really got anywhere and put it down and picked it up and put it down, picked it up and put it down. And then lo and behold, you wake up one morning and you're 61 years old and there's still plenty of time to do it. So I started when I was 18. I bought an acoustic guitar from the local music shop, I think. I did not know, but the guitar was just awful, right? It was hardly playable. The action was way too high, and I just never got anywhere. I didn't have money for a teacher, and I bought the Mel Bay book, which just didn't work for me. Mel Bay? Mel, leave me alone. It didn't work out. I'm sorry. It just didn't work out, Mel. So I bought the Mel Bay book and I learned some etudes and it just didn't go anywhere. And eventually, a guy that I worked with at a little restaurant job I had as a teenager sold me this Les Paul knockoff that he had. And I bought a Crate G20 amp, which at the time was bad. It was bad. And I didn't get anywhere, but I didn't get anywhere a little more loudly now. And actually, it was easier to play. The electric was much easier to play than the acoustic. But again, I just didn't have time for lessons or money for lessons. So fast forward, I ended up going to college and I took the guitar with me to college and I would just noodle around. I was pretty good at noodling on the minor pentatonic scale at the time. I thought that was the holy grail, was the Jimmy Page? Jimmy, no, I know the pentatonics. I know, they're great. No, you're great, Jimmy. Yeah, I'm not knocking the pentatonics. So, I would pick it up and put it down and never learned any songs, and there was no internet to help out. So I did end up buying a lot of books, a lot of analog YouTube books, tab books, most of which I still have, in magazines. And I would learn little bits and pieces, little riffs, and just never got anywhere. So when I got out of college, I ended up buying my first real guitar, which was a made in Japan Strat, a 1987 made in Japan Stratocaster. And I didn't know at the time, and I still have it, I didn't know at the time that that it was a good guitar. I just went to the music store and the guy said, yeah, and I wanted a white guitar because I had seen Jimi Hendrix holding a white guitar. And so I had that Strat and I had the Crate G20, and eventually I got a full-time job and just got busy, and I would pick it up maybe once a week, then once every other week, then once a month, and then it ended up sitting in a case for years. Fast forward then to 2007-ish, when the Great Recession hit and I lost my job, and so I had all this free time, and so I thought, I'm still young enough, I could give this a go. So I picked it up again, and this time we had the internet, which was wonderful. And I ended up downloading about a copy of Sonar Home Studio and this cheap little recording interface, and I could record myself on there, and that was very, very helpful. And there were some internet guys out there that were doing lessons. There was a lot of internet community, which was helpful. So at that time, I started learning like little riffs, Santana riffs and Eric Clapton riffs, and it was pretty cool. I never learned, I don't know if I learned a song all the way through, but I could play bits and pieces, and that was more progress than I'd ever made. So that was nice. But again, just didn't really make a whole lot of progress. Although I did have fun recording silly little songs. Got a job again, back to work full time, married, bought a house, all that stuff just takes up all the time. And the gear ended up going in the closet, and then the gear ended up going on eBay, and I sold everything off, which wasn't a lot. I had a couple pedals. I had a Dane Electro chorus pedal and a Boss delay, and I think a Boss blues driver, and I sold all those off and sold the guitars except for the Strat, which I kept. So I sold off all my gear except the Strat, and I think I had a little Valvetronics amp, practice amp too, that I kept, that went in the basement to collect dust. And then, so fast forward then to about 2017, and I took a work from home position. And I've never been a real good sleeper. I tend to wake up early and can't go back to sleep. So I would just get up, and working from home meant that I saved a half hour commute time, or half hour to 45 minutes commute time. So I had all this extra time in the morning, and I decided around 2018, I'm going to try again. I'm not getting any younger. In fact, I'm not young at all anymore. Now I had this time, and I would get up in the morning, and I downloaded GarageBand for free, bought a little interface, and I just played through that with my computer speakers. I did that for a couple of years. That was my rig, and that actually worked out really good. If you're in that same position where maybe you're older in life and you want to pick it up, you don't have to go out and buy a ton of gear to do it. You can do it with an interface and your computer speakers, and it doesn't sound great, but you don't sound great initially. But it really doesn't sound bad either. I don't think it sounds bad. So I did that. I ended up getting Logic Pro, which had a little more rich feature set with regards to recording. The internet is really good at this point in time, and so the gear started coming thanks to that pedal show, guys. I started buying pedals, and that was really a lot of fun too, but also it was very motivational, trying different guitars thanks to Sweetwater. And so that's where the journey has led me to today. I do have to say that every time I would pick it up again to start learning, it seemed like there wasn't a whole lot of retention there. I still I thought I should be able to pick it up and just go up and down through the scales again. And it just never really seemed to work out that way for me. So what I did differently the last time was I started with a lot of fundamentals, which basically came from Justin Guitar. I did the 1 minute chord changes. Justin, yeah, yeah. Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate the help. And yeah, thanks, Justin. So I started learning the chords, and I worked a lot on that, and I think that's been one of the big differences for me, is that I didn't sit down and just expect to become Jimmy Page, right? I thought I'm just going to work on these fundamentals, and I followed through a lot of Justin's guitar lessons, and I found it very helpful. And then I started working on songs all the way through, and that's been very helpful as well to really hone my skill and get a lot better than, and I'm not good, but I'm a lot better than I thought I would ever be at this point, which really makes it a lot more fun. No real shocking revelations. Dan, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey guys, thank you very much for all the pedal advice. Thank you. So no real shocking revelations, but maybe some of you can relate. Love to hear your experience on how you got to where you are today. And if you're like me, if you're someone later in life who just really wants to pick it up and play it for fun. And I will catch up with you next time.